Hello, and welcome to our podcast, How Are Your Pigeons, which takes a look at life in the northeast of Scotland through the perspective of myself, Clare Scott.
And me, Joanna Fraser. We take a look at what's going on in the region with suggestions of things to do, places to try, and more, all with a liberal sprinkling of our opinions, thoughts, and views. So, Clare, how are your pigeons?
Ava good.
Now, have your wee coo, your wee voice, has it recovered since the last episode?
I was a little bit croaky last time, yes, I do apologise, but I think the coo is back, I'm glad to say. How are your own pigeons, Joanna?
My pigeons are well rested. I talked at length about a new mattress in the previous episode. The big reveal is I feel amazing. So many beautiful night's sleeps. The downside is that now I have a gorgeous mattress, a beautiful pillows, lovely duvet. It's just been an excuse to spend yet more money on bed linen. However, them's the breaks. Coming up, we will be sharing our different experiences of marathons, and I'm pretty sure you can guess which of us is more active.
So, Joanna, what have you been up to recently?
Well, like the rest of the world, I think, I went to see the Odyssey. However, I went to see it at Montrose Playhouse. Support local and all that. A lovely, recently reopened, within living memory reopened, refurbished, lots of lovely soft furnishings. They show all the latest films. It's amazing. And it's super close for me. And very much enjoyed the film, which I watched throughout thinking all sorts of misconceptions. I thought Circe was Emily Watson. Oh, that Emily Watson's really good, isn't she? Until I saw Samantha Morton on the One Show talking about her role as Circe. So if it wasn't Samantha Morton, Emily Watson must be absolutely fuming. Also, I never realised it was filmed on the Moray coast. And now I think about it, I'm like, yes, it did look like Culbin Forest. Yeah, great film. Very much enjoyed it. 3 hours long. It was a bit more melancholic than I remember. When I read it when I was younger, I remember Odysseus being much more of an adventurer, a sort of charmer, and forever sleeping with lots of women and killing people and thinking up cunning plans and whatnot. But I know there's been a great rethinking with Madeline Miller and Margaret Atwood and all these people doing female retellings.
Well, I'm really glad to hear your review because I'm still thinking about going to see it because it's still on, obviously, in lots of cinemas. And I applaud your decision to support your community cinema because I was actually looking at the timetable for Huntly at number 30. They've got a little community cinema there as well. Also fairly recently opened. I don't know if you know where Crookshanks used to be on the square in Huntly. Anyway, they've got a little cinema there, number 30 venue. It's got a cafe as well. It's got rooms for hot desking. So I'm going off the film a little bit there, but just to explain, I love to go to a wee local cinema as well. And as you know, Huntly's my hometown. So I was thinking about going to see the Odyssey. I was a little put off by how long it was and whether I might not like it, but I have looked at reviews and seem fairly positive, and it means a lot to get a review from you too. And given we've got a slight connection to our part of the world, I almost feel it would be rude not to go.
Definitely. I recommend it. It doesn't feel like 3 hours. Very much enjoyed it.
I shall put it on my list, or keep it on my list, should we say.
Oh, and also in our episode notes, I have found a super piece on Moray Council's website in case anybody wants to visit all the sites around the Moray coast where it was filmed. And I know Matt Damon stayed in the Seafield Hotel in Cullen. And apparently, I mean, you know we love marketing. Again, Claire, I say this all the time. They've put sort of Greek touches in the room and now they're selling it at some exorbitant price. I love it. I applaud the entrepreneurship. I love up the Moray coast. It's absolutely fabulous, especially Cullen. There's a great walk from Cullen round past the pet cemetery. I'll speak about that another day because it deserves its own section. And you go round to Sunnyside Beach, which apparently is one of the places they filmed Matt Damon storming on shore as Odysseus.
I will never be able to view the Moray coast again. I shall have that image in my mind. I am also a massive fan of Cullen. We definitely need to do a summer special on a day out in Cullen. The ice cream, the walks, the everything. But another day, another day.
Anyway, Claire, I return the question. What have you been up to?
Well, I do have news. I'm, again, disproportionately excited about this. It may not be exciting to other people, but I am not what you call one of those lucky people. You know, when there's a raffle at a small event and nearly everybody wins at least one prize, I am the person that manages to avoid all the prizes. So I was very excited recently because I won a competition for tickets to an event. I don't know if you are familiar with the Ultimate Masterclass Festival.
I am indeed.
It's a series of events organised by Aberdeen and Grampian Chamber of Commerce. Very much designed to bring people into our city because they get great speakers to speak at venues like the Music Hall. And I managed to win 2 tickets for an evening with Mo Farah at the Music Hall.
Oh, brilliant.
Which I was really, really pleased to win, as you can imagine. I won't go into too much detail here. Maybe some of the people listening were already at it. But he was an excellent guest, spoke very movingly about his difficult childhood because he was child trafficked into the UK, and then, of course, went on to speak about his glorious athletic career. He was a really engaging speaker and humorous at times as well. One of the things that really made me chuckle was he was asked during the conversation whether any of his children are following him into running, and he said that his daughter is, she's, can't remember, about 12 or 13, adolescent anyway, and he sort of looked at the audience and grinned and winked and he said, "Big shoes to fill, eh?" Which I thought was just classic. You know, when your dad's Mo Farah, you're probably kind of expected to do quite well on school sports day, I would imagine. But yeah, he was really, really good, really engaging, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Never been to any of the UMF events, but they involve, am I correct, a settee sitting on the stage and an interviewer. And so Mo Farah, I presume, was not just holding forth. It's a question and answer type scenario, isn't it?
It was. I should have explained that, really. It was an evening with Ryan Crichton was interviewing Mo Farah. He did a great job.
An excellent interviewer, yes.
He did a fantastic job of just putting him at ease, drawing him out. It felt like a really relaxed and easy conversation, but the audience still felt part of it. A couple of the UMF series sponsors also spoke a little bit beforehand. And we have had a variety of speakers. I was really amazed because Ryan announced at the start that the UMF, as it's abbreviated to, was actually launched back in 2023. I didn't realise it was that long ago. So it's been going for quite some time now. And clearly the events are spaced out. Not just sporting people, although they have brought Sir Chris Hoy to Aberdeen. I think he was one of the sort of more recent ones. But they've also had famous podcasters, not us yet, but famous podcasters like Stephen Bartlett, Elizabeth Day.
Invites in the post, Clare.
I feel it's coming any day now. Pigeon post alert. Davina McCall, I actually went to that one.
I would like to have heard Davina, yeah.
I went to that one. She had Dr. T sort of did, this is not the correct terminology, by the way, but a bit of a warm-up act with the crowd. So that was a really interesting evening because he did a piece first before she came on, and she was interviewed. And again, it was a conversation again, but it was Fiona Stocker who interviewed her.
We all love Fiona Stocker.
So anyway, that was what I've been doing recently, and I was very thrilled to win and very thrilled to be there. And as a result of that, I had not seen Mo Farah's documentary, but I'm going to make a point of watching it. Coming up, we get a little misty-eyed about makeup from our teenage years. Now, Joanna, what I failed to mention when I was speaking about Mo Farah and my excitement about being a winner was one of the main reasons he was here, of course, was it was the eve of Aberdeen's half marathon weekend, which was just a massive thing, not just for the city, but for the whole region. Lots of activity round Duthie Park where it started and along the Deeside line and so forth. So, question to you, were you involved, aware, doing anything that weekend?
I was caught up in the frenzy of excitement that was the half marathon. Although being me, not a natural marathon runner, it was slightly coincidental, shall we say. So I was dog sitting and came along to Duthie Park because I was going to walk up Deeside line. I was like, there's an awful lot of people here wearing vests and having medals on their chest. I suspect something is on. And of course, I got there and there was the huge gazebo at Duthie Park. Ah, that's right. I did hear chat of the half marathon. So I was speaking to the stewards. I was like, because it said it's shut from 10:30 to 2:30. I guess, is it okay if I take the dogs up? They were like, oh yes, most of the runners are in now. So they'd all been round and they were all kind of walking home. But I caught, while I was walking my 2 dogs I had, the last runners coming in, and I sort of, oh, well done, and then get smiling at them. Whereas the guy behind me who was pushing a buggy was, every time they went back, well done, keep going. I was like, oh my God, I'll have a heart attack. So I inadvertently got quite close to the marathon runners. So much so, and I know I shared this with you previously, Claire, I even thought about entering the half marathon next year. And then I remembered it was me, and I possibly will not be entering any half marathons ever.
Oh, I'm sure we could change your mind on that. Yes, I do recall a WhatsApp message for you saying, I am thinking of entering the half marathon next year, full stop. I blame you, full stop, which I felt was rather unfair. Well, I just think it's hilarious that you say coincidentally. So Joanna accidentally arrives at the Duthie Park on potentially the busiest day of the year. I was down there also in sort of the same capacity as you, but a bit further along. That I love the Deeside line. I love it for a walk and a cycle. And again, there are some lovely cafes along the line as well, which I like to frequent, and some that I still have to investigate. But I was there in a support capacity I was one of the loud people, probably, despite the supposedly hoarse voice. I was there with a sign.
Did you have a buggy and were you dressed as a man? No, cheering. Oh no, you had a sign.
I had a sign, but I am embarrassed to say that I almost missed my own son because he had failed to tell me that he was going to run with his baseball cap on, which completely floored me. I was looking for this brown head of hair to come bouncing along, and it didn't. And my daughter had to say, there he is. So I was sort of almost trotting after him with the sign, going, well done, keep going. But what an amazing weekend.
That's a beautiful image.
Yes, only me, yes.
It was. There was quite the sense of occasion, yeah. I love the Deeside line too. I used to live round about there, and I would often go all the way up. The only drawback being that I tended to walk and walk and walk. Oh, that's probably enough. Forgetting that you then have to turn round. I would get as far as Mary Cooter and then turn round and walk all the way back again. But hey ho. I don't know of many cafes though. I know you mentioned one to me.
One of the ones that I really like, which isn't actually on the line, but I'm fairly sure it's way up there on TripAdvisor as one of these top cafes now. And I think that's as much down to the service as the food. Both are good. So Blether, which is a lovely Scottish name, isn't it, is in Cults, and it's worth a look, but it's not directly on the line. But the one that I would quite like to go see or go try, which I have walked past, jogged past, cycled past many times, is Boxcar Coffee and Yard, which is really popular with cyclists and walkers, and it is right on the line. So yeah, ooh, I would love to try that. And of course, Duthie Park itself is lovely. I am guilty of forgetting about the Winter Gardens for a nice stroll, or if the heavens open, you can seek refuge in there, and it's got a nice little cafe beside it. I think it's just called the Park Cafe.
Well, I want to know more about Blether. Also, I want to know if Blether is looking to sponsor a podcast in any way, shape or form. I think that's our ideal candidate. Tell me a bit more about Blether.
Well, it's dog friendly, which you would really like. Mm-hmm. It's not huge, but it has that sort of really cosy Scottish vibe, but modern Scottish vibe. Menu is, I quite like a brunch, so I haven't really done a sort of full lunchy type meal, but brunch is always delicious, always nice. Like I say, the staff are super friendly, and one of the things I really like about it is, say you are in Mary Cooter and you're thinking you'll be in Cults by whatever time, you can phone ahead and say that you're coming and let them know approximately what time. A lot of these busier cafes, they won't let you book, so you're just stood there in a queue, hoping, gasping for a coffee. You can phone ahead with them and they'll try and accommodate you as well. So lovely ladies who run it. I would say it's worth a little look.
I'll drop them an email now about the sponsorship opportunity.
Tell me, Joanna, You always seem to have something new or interesting on the go, a little mini project. So I'd like you to spill the beans. You know what it's time for, don't you? It's time for...
Fitte me die en recht nu.
What I am doing right now is picking my own strawberries. Bumper crop this year, Clare, you'll be pleased to know. I also need an update on your lettuce growing. 1.5 kilo of strawberries. I was chatting to the owners of Castleton Farm, and I always feel the need to update them on my own strawberry growing process. They pack 9 million punnets of berries a year. So why they need to know about my 1.5 kilos of strawberries, but I'm very, very proud of myself. That's one thing I've been doing, and jam will be made. But one other thing that's been happening in the kitchen has been I've been making key lime pie.
My.
Now, well, that's a very, very good question. I have never tasted key lime pie. I have never made key lime pie. So when a friend was chatting and telling me that she really wanted a key lime pie made properly for her sister, I should not have said, I'll make it. How hard can it be? So yes, I made the aforementioned key lime pie. And you know these things when you give something to somebody, you can't give it with a slice taken out that you've actually eaten to check what it... So I still don't know what the verdict is. I'm sure it's coming in by pigeon post. That was what I've been up to, key lime pie. But I've got a top tip for you, Clare.
Tell me more.
Felicity Cloak. So Felicity Cloak is a recipe person. I don't know what you call somebody who makes up recipes. But she works for The Guardian, she's a columnist there, and she also writes books, of which I am lucky enough to have one, and it's called The Perfect. So what she does is she trials everybody's recipes, and in the one I've got, it's all sort of the basics. So it's scones, crumble, roast chicken, macaroni cheese, these types of things. And she trials everybody's recipes, like Tom Kerridge does this, Nigella adds loads of butter and cream is what she usually adds. Nigel Slater tends to do this, and she'll tell you all this, and then she works out in a very scientific way which tastes better, and she does it in a taste panel, and then she amalgamates all the recipes and comes out with one recipe. So what I did, Clare, was I googled key lime pie, Felicity Cloak, and she came up with the goods. That's my top tip. Discover Felicity Cloak.
My flabber is well and truly gasted. Firstly, that you volunteered to make a key lime pie quite ambitiously that you still don't know, you haven't had the review on. But as for this Felicity Cloak woman, but it's also useful to know about her if like me, see, I get paralysed by choice. I will Google banoffee pie or something like that, and then Mary Berry's recipe will come up, and as you say, Nigella's recipe will come up, and then I just get all confused and whose looks best and da 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 da. So I will now go straight to Felicity Cloak as my person to Google of choice for recipes. Although I have to say, I'm not probably as proficient in the kitchen as you, and nor am I as proficient in the garden as you. You asked about the lettuce.
Oh, yes. Come on, back to the lettuce. How is the lettuce?
The lettuce lives on. But I'm going to be completely honest here. Is the head gardener, who incidentally is not me at Scott Towers, has kind of taken it over. So the little seed packet has been put to good use, but I have done nothing other than eat the result of it. And I can also tell you, and indeed your friends at Castleton Farm, now wait for this, my bumper crop of raspberries, do you know how much of what it fills? That I proudly filled, the Goo dessert with the little glass dishes.
I do.
We proudly filled a full one of them. I think I'm into double figures. And that is about as good as it gets. And that, I feel, lays bare how proficient I am when it comes to growing my own fruit and veg.
I've got a returning item for you. It's the burning question. Crap sound effects, trademark. So my burning question to the listeners is, have you ever blithely promised to deliver something without fully thinking it through?
That's such a good question. Can you see that I'm actually already going red?
The listener can't, but I can.
I would say that you should never, ever, when you're asked to volunteer at a village fair, say, I'll do anything. Because that happened to me several years ago in the village of Kintor in our fair region of the Northeast. I can't remember what it was called, if it was a family fun day or an open day, but I said to one of the organisers, yeah, I'll help on one of the stands, just put me anywhere. Well, can you guess which stand I was allocated to?
I want to add some suggestions, but no, go on, share.
The face painting. I have zero skills with face painting, I would add. And in I got to this chair with a sea of expectant small faces and their parents queuing. There was me and another lady, and I was just given this palette of face paints.
So, how I know nothing about face paint. So is it crayons, felt pens, brushes? How do you do it?
It is basically.
Maybe you're not the best person to ask.
I'm not.
Sorry.
I'm so not. But yes, it looks like a normal sort of pretty paint palette, and you have your sort of jar of water and a brush, and off you're meant to go. Well, I had people with their iPhones saying, he wants this superhero. Could you just do this? Or could you do that?
Fabulous.
Now, the lady beside me, there were two of us, and I was at peak time. I was sort of at like 2:00 in the afternoon. And it was a nice day. So there were throngs of people. And the lady next to me was clearly like a professional face painter. And I could see people quietly moving from my queue into hers as children emerged. All these lopsided butterflies and tigers. It was humiliating. And my family did not help because they kept skulking past the queue, laughing at my obvious discomfort. So not only can't I garden and I can't really bake very well, but we've also ruled out face painting. Apparently it's good for your brain to do things that you're bad at. It is really not good for your ego or your reputation, though. So I will help now at village fairs with anything but the face painting. So surely someone has an equally embarrassing story to tell. Please, people, please, you know what to do.
Well, we do know what to do, but tell us anyway.
Email howareyourpigeons@gmail.com.
Given that I've just shared my tale of woe and shame about applying things to faces, it does make me think about way back in the mists of time, Joanna, when we used to apply things to our face as teenagers that nowadays we would just cringe at. And it has made me think that it must be time for another round of...
Off the top of your head.
Which cosmetics products did you love to use as a teenager?
Oh, that's a great subject. I love that. First one that springs to mind, Hard Rock hairspray. Absolutely no ozone layer was going to stop me, which is basically liquid glue in my hair. Fantastic.
I hear your Hard Rock hairspray and I raise you Silvacrin hairspray. I think it still exists, but the smell of that,
Yeah.
just... My bedroom used to be like...
A fuck of Silvacrin. Well, I give you Silvacrin and I raise you Pinking Sheer lipstick. If you know, you know. It was a Boots number 17. It was very, very pale pink. It had that pearlescence round it.
Why did we think that pearly stuff made us look good? I don't know. Speaking about bad colour choices, blue mascara. Did you go there?
Yes. Electric blue. None of your dark blue, electric blue.
No subtlety involved.
Also, no subtlety. In the 1980s, you're talking about the smell of Silvacrin. Me, poison, perfume. You could smell me about 100 yards before you could see me. Yeah, I thought I was the most sophisticated person on the block.
I can even remember the bottle. Wasn't it dark purple? Well, clearly my pocket money didn't stretch very far because do you remember, I'm sure they were dirt cheap and also completely ineffective. Do you remember those sachets of shaders and toners?
Remember them? That was a weekly thing. And every time you opened a sachet, it was going to change not just your hair colour, your life.
Absolutely. And I was deeply disappointed when I still looked exactly the same the next day, but...
Talking of things for your hair, Sun-In. Did you ever come across Sun-In? It was something that I presume was just bleach in a bottle, which you would spray on your hair and then go out into the sun. and it would make it as brittle and snappable.
Yeah. And it was clearly meant, I'm sure it had a picture of blondes on the bottle, didn't it? And it was clearly meant for people who were naturally light-haired, which I am not. So thanks to Sunnin, I had a green clump on my fringe for most of one summer.
I got a perm shortly afterwards and it all snapped off. Also, I would say I'm a bit more careful in the sun these days. I remember using baby oil when we used to sunbathe as teenagers. Can you imagine? Must have just been a smell of sizzling flesh. You got one last one for us, Claire?
Well, and again, this will probably give you some indication as to what my teenage complexion was like. Rimmel hide the blemish. Do you remember it?
It still exists. I'm pretty sure that still exists for a reason.
It does. It does. Yes, it's one of these classics, but I got through quite a lot of that. It was a key item in the teenage makeup bag, I have to say.
Oh, I love that. That was a great trip down memory lane. I'm sure we've forgotten, frankly, dozens of beauty products. If anybody would like to remind us of their favourite cosmetics and beauty products from their teenage years, you know where to tell us.
Email howereyourpigeonsne@gmail.com.
One thing I meant to share with you, Claire, I am absolutely desperate to read a new book by a local author. And I know you'll have heard about it because you are very, very well informed and well read. But it's called The Den Burn, and it's a crime thriller novel set in Aberdeen by a local author called John Duncan. Have you heard anything about it?
You know this, you give me credit where none is due. I have not heard about it, but I would love to. I'm already intrigued. Tell me more.
Apparently, and I've not read it yet, I do have it on order, but I have heard it's about a serial killer. I'm just checking there's no spoiler points here. I don't think so. It's a serial killer in Aberdeen, obviously down the Den Burn, which is the burn that goes through the middle of the city, who targets people who are big on social media, who like showing off lots on social media. That's all I know.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds good. So have you read any of John Duncan's other work then?
No, not at all. It's the first I've heard of him. It was a friend of mine was telling me, I think he's doing an author talk in Stonehaven. It's roundabout just now. And she'd mentioned it. I was like, oh, this is brilliant. And she said she had a copy of the book and could not put it down. And I always love that. I think that's a great recommendation for a book.
Well, I always have a book, at least one book, or sometimes two on the go simultaneously. And I don't know if you do this as well, but I have, you know, in the notes app on your phone, I have a things to read, which just seems to get longer and longer and longer. But what I do also like, you were saying you've got this book pre-ordered, is I have discovered, and I know I'm way behind the times, and this has existed for years, but I just absolutely love the fact that you can also pre-order books and new books from things that are just out from your library now as well. I just can't say enough good things about the library service. It's amazing.
Yes. And how do you find your books, Claire? How do you know how do you find what you're going to read next?
I read quite an eclectic mix of things, and it tends to be again, I will confess that I do sometimes listen to other podcasts. So sometimes I'll hear something being spoken about on another podcast, and I think, I really like that guest. I want to read their book because they're often on promoting a book. Often, the Sunday papers, you have all the supplements and things, and there's usually the culture guide. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find it, and right now, it's both wonderful and terrible because, of course, because it's summer, it's like top 10 summer reads, and I'm thinking, I want to read all of these, and I have limited time and so many books. I sometimes get them from there, or from conversations with your good self, people, just chatting to friends and things as well.
I found a great list of the top 100 books as nominated by authors. I think it was 100 authors that did it, and so it was 100 books. So I'm currently very slowly inching my way through that list. Do you know what, Claire, we could speak about this for ages, and let's spare our listeners, and why don't we maybe put together a themed episode about reading, about books, about local bookshops, about where we find our books. Fancy it?
I would love that. And we can debate the merits of Kindle versus hard copy.
Well, you know where I stand on that particular topic. We can come up with some top 5 recommendations and actually do something useful as well.
That would be great. That would be great. I've just finished, just to finish the conversation, I have just finished reading The Truants by Kate Weinberg, and it's her introductory novel. And I think it was one of the ones that appeared in a list about it's worth a read. And I would definitely say if you read the likes of Sally Rooney and so forth, that type of thing, it is both disturbing and compelling. And yeah, I got quite absorbed in it. So that's a little shout out from me to you about.
It's also one for our podcast. Disturbing and compelling. Which one of us is which?
Please don't write in on that one, folks. I think I'd rather not know. I believe that takes us once again, very quickly, it would seem, to a close. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to find out more about any of the things we've talked about, head to this episode's show notes where you'll find all the relevant links.
And remember, if you'd like to tell us how your pigeons are, or if you've got any thoughts of any of the vaguely random topics we've touched on, we would love to hear from you. So you can reach us on howareyourpigeonsne@gmail.com or through the link in the episode bio.
And if you'd like to hear any of our previous episodes, you know you would. You can find them all on our YouTube channel at How Are Your Pigeons? Or why not subscribe so you never miss an episode?